Friends, I want to talk again about riq rolls. You know, the roll we do like this. You know, the body rolls. I noticed that there's something about understanding that you have rolls that require a trigger. You know, when you go and you see how the hand moves. And there are ones just by the wrist itself, by the power of the wrist, being able to do. And I will show in the demonstration the meaning behind this, just being able to have like a really subtle movement this way, right? It's just kind of movement, very subtle and quick. And then also the slow ones, you know? Because from the beginning, when you start knowing those rolls, you just have to first practice this, being able to do 1, 2, 1, 2. You see the movement of the wrist? Then, so you become able to do. Okay, so this is the thing about it. And then the application of this within the play, that's something important to understand. I'm going to play a pattern and see how is it, and I'll explain the role. So if I'm playing Maqsoom, for example, and then I will go. You notice how I'm figuring here, and in the beginning I began also with just one movement. So it's all depending on. So you get this harmony and coordination between the hands to be able to achieve that. But it's again essential to know that this is the hand that triggers. You know. Again, the little movement, and then when you trigger, that's when you have more strength and continuosity. You can continue. You see? You know, and then. Okay, and then in producing rolls. So many drummers, they use this technique of striking. Okay, and then now we come to the wrist one. How we have more strength. This way, you see what I'm doing? So if you roll it, double the time, until this becomes. So if you play in Baladi or Maqsoom, anything. I have to say myself, it's a bit tiring to play the slaps this way. I mean the rolls this way. They're neat and intricate, but yet they're very tiring because you're triggering from the space. You know, like from nothing to going this way. So you have to get a lot of hand discipline to be able to make that distinct sound, rolling sound. It takes more effort. It works at the end, but then you know you get there are benefits to it for other things like being able to do. It's useful for these things, but to play within a beat like Maqsoom, the trigger is really the best option to make that roll. You know. You have enough time to trigger and to hit a slap also. And with the time, you become subtle with it. It doesn't have to be so rigid, you know. And also knowing where you're striking on the instrument to get the angle and the momentum. See? It's mostly done this way, like because you have dum. See the point? Dum. Okay, so this is about those rolls. and their application. The other thing was just the primary role, just to get more emphasis and to try to practice this as much as possible. The more I practice it myself, I see the value of it for a physical discipline, and it adds this beautiful dimension to the play, you know. Just being able to do this and being, you know, at ease with it, and knowing how to insert the beat inside, you know. And as I mentioned before about being able to do it in 1-2-1-2, like straight, and then 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1. Like in Moroccan playing. So this cycle, or straight, or okay. So this is about the riq rolls, and again, practice as much as possible. Take your time, be slower, especially the slower. In order for you to trigger your wrist, you really have to take it easy and then make the zills respond. Okay. Friends, another principle I thought of was direction over speed. That's a saying in a way that still tells you that when you play on those drums or any drum, you don't want the target to be higher speed as much as higher effectiveness and precision of playing and anchor in your playing. And we always emphasize on this by talking about the mizan. You know, again, the mizan has the main value in playing the music actually. You may know beats and movements, but applying them on that, you know, scale, like it's a scaling, you're always weighing the beat. That has a lot of benefit to it in anchoring your playing and setting you to a better kind of speed. If you see the general playing of nowadays, drumming, it just sadly it lost some of its anchor idea. That means all the drummers aiming for higher speeds, and that's really sacrificing the sounds of the drums themselves. And that applies to all of them, to riq, to drbaki, to def, anything. Just being mindful of that, and also being always able to associate with the music itself and the idea of elevation. Like, you don't rush into playing music. You just take your time, get your sounds better, get even your body more acquainted with the instrument, or like when you play. So especially like a warming up, we all have a piece to warm up first. That means it's a piece of music. You take your time, you play slowly. You don't have to ornament a lot. Just keep sobering up to the beat, waking up to it, and getting more at ease with the instrument itself. And from there, you can see even how higher speeds become even more effective, and you don't lose the sound of the instruments. The main point is the sound of the instrument, to be able to still match it with the music, and for your own energy. Like, you really want to get so much out of the sound first, and then the movement, you'll see how beautiful they become with the sound. So to be mindful of this and knowing the application of it, I wanted to just verbally just explain this idea. Another thing also related to the speed and anchor is the integrity of the forms of the beats when you play them, especially the basic beats that you get the music spun around them. Maqsoom, baladi, these kind of lively beats. I realize that it's, again, the importance of making the beat first, so you can have a better time ornamenting, and it will be something tasteful when you play it along. A lot of times it happens that drummers would sacrifice this on behalf of just being able to ornament with the beat, or just applying their own knowledge. Again, like, if you just, at least when you play the maqsoom, like, be able to just aiming for those sounds, you know. Because remember, every time you repeat those patterns, they make an impression on you as a listener, not just as a musician. And the more you do them precisely, they become more coherent, and they set a path for you. Every time you waver, every time you try to alter it, it doesn't allow this continuosity to happen for the listener and the player. And especially for players, you will probably experience that if you're a melody player and you're doing a taqsim and the drummer is playing the beat for you, but it's also ornamenting or syncopating sometimes just to keep the beat lively. That affects your performance as a melody player. It distracts you sometimes, unless you're in an agreement with that the drummer from the beginning to do this along your work. The drummer has to be mindful of the idea of just holding the beat, keep it as coherent and as possible for the melody musicians. So any sound you make on the instrument, that counts into this enhancement of the music. Again, in the case of the rap, many times it's looked upon as an ornamental instrument because of the zills and all these fancy sounds and syncopations. But yet when you listen to the sound of it, making the beat, trying to play the beat and manifesting the mizan, you'll see the beauty of that, that reasonable playing of the beat, Again, my message for this is to don't be afraid of the beat becoming repetitive or even dull that you might think. As long as you keep it bouncy with those principles, it wouldn't get dull or it might be boring or so. No, just give it some patience until it manifests. Because again, think about it, that you are building yourself up to it. You don't get into it immediately, no matter what. Even sometimes after an hour of practice or so, if you want to start performing, you'll see yourself going through this channel of holding the beat and getting into the instrument again, especially the drums, to build the beat for everybody else. So it's a bit of a responsibility. All right. Friends, there's another concept that I got to realize a couple of days ago from an American drummer. His name is Jim Chaphan, I believe. And it's really wonderful about transferring movement from fingers to wrists. He's a drum kit player, and his principle identifies with every other kind of drumming. So it happens here with us in Middle Eastern drumming. What does it mean to transfer the movement? And it's something I've been trying to understand it myself, to explain it to people. What I realized that it is about being able, sometimes you're playing with the finger, doing something with the finger, and suddenly you need your wrist to work. That's a transfer of movement. Best manifested in the qarshi, when we do qarshi. Qarshi is using the fingers for the rolling, but then for the singles, you are actually using your wrist. So that's a transfer of movement, So it's very important to be able to do this. Or even if you're using the bouncy, just one finger, when you do this, it's a different move than this, right? So it's still now it's wrist. So for the double, your hand does this, but for the single, it does that. So that's a transfer of movement in this instant. The other example would be in triplets. When you're doing a two-hand triplet, you're doing the soft. And then You see, you are small here, and then suddenly you have to whip it, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's another form of transferring the movement to a bigger thing here, or using your whole arm. You're going. See, now I need to do this. So you see how I transferred my energy to play from the arm. I'm not just playing from the wrist anymore. Same thing can happen here. So that's the idea behind transfer of movement, so it can last while you're doing your rolls and things like that. He was going two hand like a triple roll, but you can see there's something happens with the hand, how you can whip your hand. And also this move here, that's another transfer like you have now. You have moved from the shoulder to get into the dome. So this is about transfer of movement. Friends, as we discussed before, that Arabic singing and muwashahat, they are interchangeable in their beats and their maqam, and I have few examples, but I'm going to give only two today about this interchangeability. The first muwashah is in a 9/4 beat. The beat is called Neem Rawan. It has a certain form to it, and then it can be sung in a 6/8, just regular 6/8 ogrog style of beat, or in an aqsaq, Arabic aqsaq style, aqsaq samai. And I will explain and demonstrate all of them. Now, for the first beat, the Neem Rawan, that's the one that the muwashah is originally built to. It's played this way. 7, 8, 9. Okay, and the 6/8 is a slow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and the aqsaq, the Arabic aqsaq. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that's the Arabic aqsaq. Okay, I'm gonna demonstrate those, just singing the first part of the muwashah just to see how the beats are applied there. Okay, so we'll start with the original form, the Neem Rawan. يا غزالي كيف عني أبعد شتات شملي وهجري عودوك يا غزالي كيف عني أبعدوك شتات شملي وهجري عودوك. This is the number one. In 6/8, يا غزالي كيف عني أبعدوك شتات شملي وهجري عودوك يا غزالي كيف عني أبعدوك شتات شملي وهجري عودوك. Okay, that's a group. And then the aqsaq samai. يا غزالي كيف عني أبعدوك شتات شملي وهجري عودوك يا غزالي كيف عني أبعدوك شتات شملي وهجري عودوك. As you can see, same washah, 3 different beats, and that's really something awesome about this music, you know, that you don't stick to the same thing. There's always a chance for something elaborate or smart or light, you know. That's about changing of the beat within the washah. Now the other example was change of maqam. We have a classic example of the muwashah, اجمعوا بالقرب شملي. It's done in Bayati. Most of us would sing it in Bayati, but there's one version of it done in Ajam, maqam Ajam. I'm gonna again just sing the first part of it. This muwashah is in maqam Nawakht, the slow 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll start with the Bayati. اجمعوا بالقرب بالقرب شملي اجمعوا بالقرب واسمحوا لي بالتلاقي يا ليل، ليل 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 يا ليل بالتلاق يا لالي. Okay, that's in بياتي. Now in عجم. اجمعوا اجمعوا بالقرب، بالقرب شملي. اجمعوا اجمعوا بالقرب، بالقرب شملي. واسمحوا لي بالتلاقي يا ليل، ليل 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 يا ليل بالتلاق يا لالي. So you see, I hope I was clear about the bayati, to see the difference in the sound between bayati and ajam, and just the same beat. Okay, thank you.